Hey, what's going on, guys? Jacob here. I hope you're all doing well and staying safe. So I actually just saw some pretty big news, so I thought I'd take a minute to jump on here, record, and break this down for you guys. So obviously with all this COVID stuff, there's been a lot of repercussions, and it's just been a chain reaction of things that have been happening, and that's obviously expected when the entire world comes to a screeching halt. And we saw people not being able to pay their rent. We saw people getting their mortgages deferred, some loan programs. However, one of the most lacking areas was how the government was going to come out and help small businesses. I've been raised in the small business environment. I've got a lot of friends and family in the small businesses. I understand just how difficult it is to run a small business on your own as is, let alone trying to pay one of the biggest fixed expenses a month over month while you're not generating any income. All right, so loans or deferring rent payments aren't really the solution, because all it's doing is kicking the can down the road, and the small business owner is going to have to deal with it eventually. So they've just announced a new assistance program. So I'm going to link below as well for you to read it for yourselves, but I'm just going to kind of skim over it real quick and talk over the main points. Ontario, Canada Emergency Commercial Rent Assistance Program. Ontario's committing $241 million to partner over $900 million in total for an Ontario, Canada Emergency Commercial Rent Assistance Program. Now, they will provide forgivable loans to eligible commercial property owners experiencing potential rent shortfalls because their small business tenants have been heavily impacted by COVID-19 crisis. So how does the program work? The program has been developed to share the cost between small business tenants and landlords. So tenants and landlords would each be asked to pay 25% of the before-profit costs, and the province and the federal government will cost share the remaining 50%. So for example, a monthly rent for a small business is $10,000. In this example, assume the landlord doesn't make a profit. So I'm assuming when they mean profit, they're just seeing a shortfall with the rental income that doesn't cover their mortgage and their fixed expenses of just running the business. I'm assuming that. So the landlord forgoes $2,500, 25% of the rent. The small business would be responsible for paying $2,500 themselves, and the government would cover the remaining 50%, $3,750 by the federal government, and then $1,250 by the provincial government. Now, to receive the loan, property owners will be required to reduce the rental costs of small business tenants for April to June 2020 by at least 75%. The loan would also be contingent on the signing of a rent forgiveness agreement between impacted tenants and landlords. Now, this would include a moratorium on evictions for 3 months. Now, this is huge, guys, because so a month ago when all this stuff was coming down, I wrote a quick little blog post talking about the incoming tsunami, talking about the biggest issue and the fact that so many people aren't going to be able to pay their rents, and it was going to affect renters and landlords, both for commercial and residential sides. Now, residential side, we had the moratorium on evictions announced back then, and residential evictions take quite a bit longer than a commercial eviction would be like, because commercial people operate in a different world. The residential population for renters are very well protected with the landlord and tenancy agreement that we've got in Ontario. It's very, very leaning towards protecting all the tenants, whereas on the commercial side, the rules are a little bit different. So moratorium on eviction has been announced. Now, or to be applicable for these guys, I guess. Now, how long would a commercial property owner have to apply? You've got till September 30th, and it's retroactive for April 1st for April, May, and June. So that means half of March, everyone's kind of taking a hit there. It's just going to come out of your pocket. There's some eligibility requirements. You've got to own the property. And here's the thing, 30% has to be commercial component if it's a mixed-use building. Property owners must be the registered owner and the landlord of the residential or commercial property. And if the property owner does not have a mortgage secured by commercial rental property, they should contact CMHC to see what programs they've got available for them. Now, what are the eligibility requirements of a small business? Pays monthly rent not exceeding $50,000 in gross rent payments. So the big box chains aren't going to be eligible for this. This really is coming for the small to medium-sized businesses. And you must have been a non-essential small business that has temporarily closed, or who's experiencing a 70% drop in pre-COVID revenues. So that's pretty much anyone. If you're a hairdresser, if you are a service repair shop, if you're a dry cleaner, if you're a restaurant or a bar, so you're non-essential and you were shut down, you're obviously going to have 70% less income right now than you did a year ago. So that should be fairly easy to prove. Not-for-profit organizations and charitable entities are also considered. Now, does the program factor in profits for the commercial property owner through the loan period? The forgivable loan will be conditional on the property owner and tenant entering into a rent forgiveness agreement, including a moratorium on evictions for 3 months, pursuant to which the property owner would reduce the tenant's monthly rent to 25% that relates to the fixed cost for 3 months. The property owner would be responsible for the remaining 25%. So for certainty, the government funding and remaining monthly tenant rent payment obligations, i.e. the 25%, would not cover the property owner's profits derived from rental income. That is, in applying for this program, the property owner agrees to forego profit for a 3-month period. So you've got to have at least been hit by this to be applying for it. It's not like you're making a profit and you can still apply. You got to show them that you've been affected by this COVID shutdown and your tenants have not been able to pay you rent. Are any small businesses excluded? Any individual holding political office, entities that promote violence, incite hatred, or discriminate on the basis of race, national, ethnic origin, color, religion, sex, age, or mental and physical disability, and any entity in the lender's special accounts or restructuring group prior to March 1, 2020. I'm guessing that means anyone that's applied for consumer proposals or some sort of restructuring, but I'm really not 100% sure on what that means. So I got to look into that as well. So that's promising news from what I'm seeing. It's actually pretty decent, guys. It's good news. It's promising news. Hopefully, this is going to help shore people and kind of tide them over until we slowly roll things out. Obviously, this was a much needed injection of help for small businesses out there because, again, they're one of the ones that are being truly affected in the sense that it's not only the fact you're generating income, you've got fixed costs that are just draining your accounts. And this is obviously going to help shore it off. Now, I want to also mention this website. If you're a small business owner, small business owners and you want to support, guys, it's extremely important to try and help out as much as we can. Like I mentioned, I've been in the small business environment my entire life. I understand just how difficult and challenging it is in a regular economy, let alone during a shutdown. So it's savesmallbusiness.ca. It's a group that's been leading the way to try and kind of be the voice for small businesses, and they've done some great work. You can sign a petition. You can email your politicians for the help that small businesses definitely need. 3 urgent calls to action. One was keep our staff together, the 75% wage subsidy, which was announced a month ago. We've got pause rent. April 1st, we've got something like that came in, and now they've got deferred debt obligations. Those are the 3 things that they're trying to work on to help with small businesses. If you're interested, go check out the site, share it, sign the petition, and yeah, hopefully you guys are all staying safe, doing well. If you've got any questions, comments, please never hesitate to reach out. Until next time, we'll talk soon. Bye.